to, not to sound like a broken record, but welcome to the newest edition of the Final Vinyl. My name is David McCoubrey, and this man sitting next to me, as always, is Barry Lordaxe.
Happy to be on the show again.
From Rolling Papers, Stones, Newspaper to the Stars. And before we launch into this week's album, I just want to give a quick shout out to my rest in peace father, Ploap McCoubrey, who drank an entire bottle of poison and then shot himself in the throat with a poison-tipped arrow. Rest in peace, Dad. And now we're moving on to this week's album. It's called Tame Impala's Currents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kevin Parker just come back into the game a couple years on tour.
It's a masterpiece of sex, strict overtones of sex. It's a robustly sexual collection of sounds. Your thoughts on Currents?
I would also like to comment that this album has an intense level of sexuality.
If I could just interject here, I would just appreciate it if I could tell you on my own show about my first sexual encounter.
By all means.
I was about a young boy of 11 years old, and my niece at the time snuck into my bedroom with her stepmother in tow, introduced us. We had dinner on the spot, and she placed her buns on top, and you know the rest of it. We entered into a sexual wormhole
and
void.
From there, you are now willing to talk more about the album?
First song I'd like to talk about on Taylor Paula's Currents is "'Cause I'm a Man."
One of the major singles on this album is called "'Cause I'm a Man," and I think in this day and age it's pretty obvious whether or not you're a man or a woman, especially when you're singing. So right off the bat, I think it's a pretty awful title.
Seen the artwork for this thing?
I sure have. Looks like balls.
Don't come on my show and talk about balls. I found it to be extremely political, and I'm a politician at heart. And I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, but we all know, you can agree with me, Bush did 9/11. He took down the towers. God bless him for that.
No, none of this is about 9/11. This is just a love song.
Well, he did
kind of an age-old pop song about a man and a woman struggling with their identity.
Twin Towers went down.
Nothing to do with 9/11.
Bush is responsible. The next song I'd like to talk about is called "Let It Happen." And Barry?
This is the first single that he released. It's a nearly 8-minute disco jam, no real subject matter at all, and just a lot of phased out drums and a lot of cloudy, sort of muddy synth tones that never really get out of the park, barely get out of the infield, in my opinion. I think this song is a dud, and I don't think it deserves the 7 minutes and 49 seconds that it is.
Sounds like Barry loved it. If I could pile on for a second. I think it's about a woman named Maxine.
Didn't hear that name at all.
This isn't usually my area of expertise, but I'm told that the singer's name is Kevin Warby Parker.
That's correct, and sometimes it just goes by Warby Parker. And now, because I'm kind of a co-host at this point, this is the part of the show where we're going to kind of attach a rating to the album, and I honestly don't think it's very good, and I'm going to give it a 8.5 out of 100. That's 8.5%.
Seems like you're always giving things a low score. You're a jerk. I'd like to give my album of Tame Impala's Currents.
It's all the same album.
It's my personal album. I'd like to give it a 9/11 out of 2001. Bush took down the towers. Now, we'd like to go into a new segment here on the program. Reluctantly, would like to give Barry the spotlight for Barry's Pick of the Week.
Okay, yeah, my pick of the week this week, a classic number. It's called "Down" by 311.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us this week, and in closing, I'd just like to recap that my rating of Tame Impala's Currents is 9/11 out of 2001, and thanks for Barry to join me this time.
Thanks for having me.
I don't think we ever have to do the show again, because I think we finally figured out the final vinyl.
But we'll see you.
Gentlemen.